Alright guys, so this is going to be a new twist on the channel. As I have mentioned in a few videos this weekend, I've been experimenting with the various things that ChatGPT can do, and this whole ability to write the videos from any perspective. So the first perspective, I don't know what order you guys are going to see this in, but I created the same video with the title of "You Are a Disposable Worker and Job Security is an Illusion." Well, I asked ChatGPT to write the first talking points from the perspective of an incredibly wealthy person. Its take on it is you are absolutely, completely, and totally screwed if you're not rich. The perspective from the extremely poor person doesn't understand what's happening to them. They keep going to work, the wages aren't keeping up, they have no hope for a better life. And the fact that I took the material is exactly the same. And I funneled it through two different perspectives. And we're going to go through the first one right now. Talking points are very similar in both, except they're shifted around. They, depending on who the speaker is, they prioritize certain terms differently. So let's get started. Here are our talking points: the illusion of job stability, the rise of the gig economy, lack of investment in employee development, and the disposable workforce. So let's get right into it with talking point number one. Many workers still believe in the old idea that hard work and loyalty leads to long-term security. But in today's market, job stability is an illusion. I've been trying to push this on you guys now for many years because there hasn't been one day in my life in which I have come to work and felt like there was any job stability. Anytime that I start getting comfortable in a job, I make certain that I take every single thing in my desk home. I've had many managers come by my desk and say, "Millennial Steam, doesn't look like anyone works here." That's the point. I want you to know that I know that I'm 100% disposable and that you will replace me on any given day for no good reason other than you didn't like the expression on my face. Fix your face, Millennial Steam. We want you smiling more. What's there to smile about? Well, get out of here. We don't want people with that attitude working here. We want people who show up and want to work here. And that's something that I used to get into constant fights with the general manager at Walmart is he would come into work every day and say stupid things like, "I only want people working here that want to work here." Ask any member of the proletariat whether or not they want to come to work, whether or not they want to waste money commuting into work to spend 8 hours in a place that they don't want to be at. And if you truly only had workers that wanted to work there, you would have no one. You would have to shut down your business because of the low pay, the monotonous work, the poor treatment, and the lack of job mobility. Most workers that come into work, in fact, I saw this at Kroger's the other day. So I've been watching these people recycle the workers constantly for years. This is the store that I've shopped at since I was like 6 years old. And every time you come in, there's someone that you've never seen before. And then there's that other element. When someone comes in and they have slightly different aptitude, right? The cart pushers, like myself, we have no interest in the job. We're there strictly as a temporary job. We're coming in, we need money, but we're looking for other work. We're not interested in becoming a manager, becoming anything more than the bare minimum wage worker. But every once in a while, and this girl's brand new. I just met her a couple days ago. She told me she's from Plymouth. Yeah, all the way over there on the other side of the pond. And they realized really quickly that she had aptitude, a higher aptitude than the rest of the garbage workers that they have there. So instantly they started giving her training to work at the service desk, and that means a responsibility of money. Most of the low-level people that work there do not want the responsibility of the customer service desk, or just simply aren't interested in any position that requires any thought. Management quickly picks up on this and starts taking away the people who would be better at working slightly above the true level of mouth breather and person that has no interest in work. But I'm off on a tangent. Companies are more focused on short term profits, reducing costs, which often means high turnover rates and treating workers as easily replaceable. This isn't just among the executives. Even management inside of the store is looking to get rid of people as quickly as humanly possible. My Evil Corp has a turnover rate of 120%. It's intentional. It's intentional to constantly keep people coming in, seeing how well they can work. If they don't work out, then you get rid of them. At that same Walmart I was talking about earlier, I had a person that I knew that had worked there for more than 10 years, and she hired someone that morning. Realized by that afternoon she needed him gone by the end of the day. My first Gen Z that I hired, I realized that his work ethic was absolute garbage on day 2. Unfortunately, HR, this evil corp likes to give people a little bit more of a chance. And as long as he met his basic metrics, they would not let me get rid of him, even though he was doing practically nothing. And he was very proud of practically doing anything. But more aggressive ways of getting rid of people is just simply looking at them, comparing their performance to the people that are doing the same job as they are, and then having a robot say, you're getting a pink slip based on these records, because your name's always just on some spreadsheet out there. You don't ever really belong to Evil Corp. Evil Corp in itself is just a mining operation, except it's mining people. Moving on to talking point number 2. This shift allows companies to avoid paying for benefits, healthcare, retirement, leaving workers to fend for themselves without any long-term security. I've been saying this for years. As everything has progressively gotten worse, they've rolled back every possible way of wasting money on workers. Full-time jobs with benefits are being replaced by part-time jobs and short-term contracts. That's the way you make money. You never want to waste money on people who aren't worth it. And I learned this a long time ago during the financial crisis. I was pushing shopping carts at the Kroger's across the street, not the one by my house, but the one light up. And the front end manager came up to me because I was complaining that I couldn't pay my bills with a 20-hour-a-week job. And she just looked at me like, why would we offer you 40 hours a week? You don't care about this job. You don't want to be here. You don't show up with a great attitude. Why would we waste the money on paying you more money through benefits and retirement and health insurance? No. You're here as temporary labor. And the more temporary you are, the better it is for rich people. You are not seen as an asset anymore. In fact, you might be seen as the opposite of an asset. You're just a temp worker. You're less than a battery. You're toilet paper. The other day when I said humans are toilet paper, this is the perspective of Evil Corp. This is Evil Corp talking about people. You are the toilet paper, and you are disposable once we get what we want from you, because we don't want people getting too comfortable here. Because people who get comfortable want things. They may start saying things like unions. They might start saying things like general strike. They start saying stupid things that corporations don't like. And it's a detriment to having workers get comfortable. Talking point number 3. This leads to a vicious cycle where employees feel undervalued, lack the necessary skills to advance, and eventually leave or get replaced by someone cheaper. This is the cycle of life. Even when men get married, it almost feels like it's a cycle. The whole institution of marriage isn't very cost effective anymore. Men will use a woman up and they won't marry her. They'll stay with her for 5 to 10 years. There's never any plan to marry her except to move on to the next one. And that's how corporations are. Because companies no longer invest in employee training and career development because they don't expect workers to stay long term. This is how I feel about all my Gen Z. I don't train them. I don't I don't give them any hopes of a career development. And they are going to stay very short term, and they know that. My Gen Z started looking for work through Indeed the first day he started working there. And right now, I know he's desperately looking for another job because he's seen how quickly people turn over at this evil corp. He has to process a lot of paperwork in which he sees the people who start, and he sees a person who worked a day and a half, and then they decided that they weren't coming back to work. In fact, I had to deal with that my last day of work, where the school president had a person who started, then said they had medical problems, which is one of the most common ways of getting out of a job after you've taken it and realize you don't want it. Just say medical problems, because that way you can save face rather than telling them that this job sucks. You're still in a polite society, and telling someone that this job sucks, well, it's not the nicest thing to say in the world when the person who hired you to do that job already knew that that job sucked. Case in point, when I started working at the Insight call center, that recruiter who hired me for that piece of crap job already knew that that job sucked. But it's not their fault that the jobs suck. In fact, I've had this argument with recruiting before. It's like you continually hire people that are not capable of doing these jobs. And they just look at you like, well, it's not our fault. Then whose fault is it? Is it the fault of the person who created the job? Is it the person who decided on how low the wage was? Was it the person who lied on their resume and then made it through the interview and somehow got to the other end? Is it because there's so many people that just aren't working and the pool of people that you have to choose from is really small? In fact, on Friday when I was driving to Gilbert, there's a part of the 202 west that narrows down to one lane. And I thought to myself, this is what life feels like. Everyone that's trying to get to this part of their career ends up getting narrowed down into one lane. And there's going to be the people that are going to be able to get there. And then there's the people that don't have any way of reaching that part of the career. And the system makes it extremely difficult on you to get over there to that part. One lane for millions of people who live here in Arizona in order to get on the 202 East, it is very, very cruel. Like there's just one bumpy round turn until you get onto it from the 101 heading south. So it's a very, it felt like a truly, you felt small in the sense that even though there are millions of people, the opportunities, because how many job interviews are really going to be done on, on a regular work week just in your area? There aren't that many good jobs. And for those good jobs that are out there are very few applicants who are going to get hired into those jobs. And the reason for that is because they don't want to hire people that are actually qualified. They want to hire people who are underqualified so that they can pay you less, burn you out, and then bring in the next underqualified individual. When overqualified people start at jobs, it's already a detriment. This is why you don't put your education when you apply for a job that's beneath you. Because if they see that you're overqualified, they realize they're not going to get the full burnout from you because you're probably going to go somewhere else. It's like the friend of Samantha that I not her friend, her older sister tried to apply to a job working at Walmart, and they wouldn't, not Walmart, Target. So, and she told me this with a really sad face. It's like my sister can't find a job anywhere. She just graduated from grad school with a psychology degree, and she can't find a job anywhere. And I was just like, you got to take your education off there because they don't want to see people that have opportunity. The last thing that you want to do is hire a person that has opportunity into a job that has no opportunity in it. They're always going to hire people that are much lower for the job. And then when the person burns out because they're working really hard to do a job that was designed for them to come in and to come out, it's not a job that invests resources or training or even giving a damn about you. It's just a job that's going to make certain that you can touch your nose and chew gum at the same time. Sometimes people fail to do this. Like the other day, when I was getting my haircut, my hair cutter said, "Close your eyes so I can blow the air from out from around your eyes after your haircut was done." And I'm like, I misinterpreted this and I thought it was funny as, please open your eyes so I can poke your eyes. And I was just like, okay, you know what? You're the boss. And she just laughed at that because of how stupid and absurd it was. Anyhow, talking point number three, which is, I believe, the last one we're going to be able to make it to. Uh, let's see. Did I already read that one? I think I did make it to talking point number three, but I went off on so many tangents that I forgot that I did. Okay, so let's just go to talking point number four because I know I haven't touched that one. This strategy ensures lower wages and fewer benefits while creating a workforce that feels expendable and has little loyalty to their employer. Yes, a corporation already knows that there is very little loyalty from workers that are underpaid, overworked, and that have no future. This is something that a lot of Gen Z is coming to the realization is that there are jobs and then there are careers. And most of the places where they are taking applications are just jobs. And Gen Zero isn't interested in jobs. They're interested in high paying careers that are going to give them instant responsibility, that are going to let them have life balance, life work balance, and that are going to let them travel. There is nothing further away than the truth for entry level jobs. Even ask people in their 30s right now. The illusion of having work life balance is not real. If you're going to be in a high paying job, your boss is going to call you even on your days off. I was sitting yesterday in a salon talking to someone, and suddenly I looked at my phone and it was my boss's name. And I just picked up and I'm like, "I'm on vacation." And he's like, "Oh, so sorry, I didn't know." I'm like, "How did you not know? It's up on the calendar." But that's really what it comes down to. Is these people, Gen Z, want to be disconnected from the workplace. They don't want to really embrace what what corporate culture feels like, where you're on 24/7, whether you're working on emails at night or your boss calls you in the middle of the night asking why you haven't ordered this piece of technology, or why can't you be here on the weekends. Last weekend I had to work both Saturday and Sunday, and that's one of the main reasons why I took Friday off. You can only work so many days in a row before you start feeling like a true piece of garbage that works at a company that has no loyalty for you. Today's economy, workers are often seen as temporary assets. Hire them, burn them out, replace them. That's exactly how you feel all of the time. And this is why rich people are rich. Because if they're not investing in their employees, they're taking all of those record profits and making certain that they get their bonuses, that they do get their work life balance by being able to go on elaborate vacations and living in large homes and driving expensive cars, while the 99% is truly feeling how disposable they are. There's when you have no sense of security, when you get to work and you're sitting in your car and you're looking at the front of the office building, you know that there's a good chance that you may walk in there and they may tell you to leave. I've been there many, many times where you look at the manager. Like when I got fired from Insight, I had walked in that day. I sat down at my cubicle and I looked over my boss, and my boss just looked at me and shook his head. And I was like, you know what? That's it. I didn't say hello to him as I passed him in the morning. I knew it was over. Like, there was too many times in which I came to work and they just looked at me like, you have no interest in working here. And I even had one time where my supervisor said to me, you don't even like me. No, most of us don't like management because of the way that they treat us. And that's just going to stay the same way forever, because this is the workplace. This is the future of work. Disposable workers is the way of the future. And we got a big alert on this during the pandemic, because even though everything I'm saying was true pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, people were told that they were essential. This illusion of calling people essential was the was a key factor in really letting you know, oh, prior to the pandemic, you were disposable, but now that we're having a problem, you're essential. But the second you're not essential and we take away the hero pay, you'll go back to being disposable. And since the pandemic, retailers have really ratcheted back how many employees they have. They've cut hours, they've lowered pay from the increase in pay to get essential workers to come to work. And a lot of these establishments that didn't make it through the pandemic are just boarded up places now. There's at least around me, within walking distance, there's at least 20 buildings that didn't survive the pandemic, and thousands of more businesses that are not going to survive into the near future. I've been to too many places that there's no one in. If the 99-cent store can go out of business, if Big Lots can go out of business, if all of these large chain restaurants can go out of business, and then they're charging out the wazoo in the restaurant to try to keep the doors open, and people don't have the money, and the overall quality of your product is low, you're not going to stay in business. The overall quality of the proletariat has reached the level of a bucket of fish heads.